The warning klaxon blared through the lucky bastard's cockpit as Nicholas Choice yanked the controls hard to port, barely avoiding the plasma burst that streaked past his viewport. The stolen Orion artifact pulsed an angry red in its containment case behind his seat. "Iris, give me something I can work with here," Nicholas barked at his ship's AI. "Three pursuit vessels maintaining attack formation," Iris replied in her crisp British accent, "and might I add, this situation perfectly validates my earlier concerns about dealing with the Orion Syndicate." Nicholas rolled his eyes as he executed another evasive maneuver. Less lecturing, more helping. The ship shuddered as another shot grazed their shields. The pursuing vessels were top-of-the-line Syndicate hunters, sleek and deadly. They had been chasing him for the past hour through this backwater sector of space. Detecting unusual gravitational readings ahead, Iris announced. "Recommend immediate course correction. No time for caution." Nicholas pushed the throttle forward. "Sometimes you have to gamble dash." The rest of his words died in his throat as space itself seemed to twist before him. The stars elongated into impossible shapes and a massive gravitational force seized the lucky bastard like a giant hand. "Fascinating," Iris commented. "We appear to be caught in an artificial gravity well of unknown origin. Quite sophisticated technology actually." "Iris." "Right. Attempting emergency protocols." The ship's engines screamed in protest as Nicholas fought against the pull. Warning lights flooded the cockpit red. Behind them, the pursuing ships had broken off, unwilling to risk the anomaly's effect. "At least we lost them," Nicholas muttered through gritted teeth. "Yes, congratulations on exchanging certain death for probable death. A marked improvement." The gravitational force increased and Nicholas watched helplessly as his instruments went haywire. Through the warped space ahead, he caught glimpses of something impossible, a planet that seemed to glow with its own inner light, its surface a maze of gleaming towers and floating structures. "Iris, are you seeing this?" "Indeed, though I suspect we won't be admiring the view for long. Impact with atmosphere in 30 seconds. Nicholas's hands flew over the controls, trying to stabilize their descent as the ship began to heat up. "Can you get any readings on that planet?" "Scanning, breathable atmosphere, advanced technology signatures, and, how peculiar. I'm detecting what appears to be a massive broadcasting network. The entire planet seems to be generating and transmitting entertainment content." "Entertainment content? What does that even dash?" The ship bucked violently as they hit the upper atmosphere. Nicholas fought to maintain control as they plummeted toward the surface, the lucky bastard's hull screaming in protest. "Might want to focus on landing," Iris suggested helpfully, "unless you prefer to make our grand entrance as a smoking crater. Though I suppose that would make for compelling viewing." Nicholas ignored her as he fought with the controls, watching as the glittering cityscape rushed up to meet them. The lucky bastard's landing gear deployed with a grinding sound that suggested repairs would be needed, assuming they survived the next few seconds. They hit the ground hard, skidding across what appeared to be some kind of landing pad. When they finally stopped, Nicholas let out a long breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. "Well," Iris said brightly, "that was either the worst landing or the best crash I've ever witnessed. I'm not quite sure which." Nicholas unstrapped himself from the pilot's seat, checking the artifact was still secure. Through the viewport, he could see they'd landed in what looked like a massive spaceport, but unlike any he'd ever encountered. The whole place sparkled with holographic advertisements and floating camera drones. "Iris, what can you tell me about where we are?" "Processing local data streams. Most fascinating. We appear to be on a planet called Catharsis and..." Iris paused, an unusual occurrence for an AI. "You might want to look at this." A holographic display materialized, showing what appeared to be a news feed. Nicholas's eyes widened as he saw his own ship's crash landing playing from multiple angles, complete with dramatic music and floating reaction emojis. "Breaking, mysterious stranger makes explosive entrance. Vote now, hero or villain." Early polls favor roguishly handsome danger seeker. They're broadcasting our crash. Nicholas ran a hand through his disheveled dark hair. How did they even get footage so fast? The entire planet appears to be one massive reality show network. Everything is broadcast, rated, and monetized. Fascinating economic model actually, social currency based on entertainment value. A loud knock on the ship's hull interrupted her analysis. Nicholas tensed, hand moving to his blaster. Local authorities, Iris reported, though they seem more interested in getting audience reaction shots than making an arrest. Wonderful. Nicholas checked his reflection in a nearby panel, straightening his leather jacket. How do I look? Like someone who just crashed a spacecraft. Though according to local metrics, that's apparently working in your favor. Your impromptu landing already has over 1 million likes. With a resigned sigh, Nicholas hit the button to lower the boarding ramp. Immediately, floating camera drones swarmed in, their lenses focusing on him as he emerged. A crowd had gathered, many holding up personal devices to record. What struck him most was how they weren't running away in fear, they were watching with eager anticipation, like audience members at a show. A holographic figure materialized before him, a well-dressed male presenter with an impossibly perfect smile. Welcome to Catharsis, mysterious stranger. I'm Click, your primary entertainment liaison. Care to share what brings you to our humble reality sphere? Before Nicholas could respond, a second holographic figure appeared, this one more dramatically dressed with an air of pompous gravitas. Come now, Click, give our unexpected guest some breathing room. Though I must say, that entrance was absolutely spectacular. I'm Bait, and I simply must know, was that crash choreographed? The timing was impeccable. Nicholas glanced between the two AI hosts, trying to get his bearings. Look, I appreciate the welcome, but my ship needs repairs and I've got some pressing business to attend to. Ooh, mysterious. Click clapped his holographic hands. The audience loves a man with secrets, don't they folks? The crowd cheered on cue, and floating displays showed real-time approval ratings climbing. If you'll excuse me. Nicholas tried to push past the holograms, only to find his path blocked by more camera drones. At least give us a name. Bait called out. The viewers are dying to know. Nicholas' choice, he replied, figuring there was no point in lying when everything was being broadcast anyway. Now if someone could point me toward the nearest repair facility. Choice. What a perfect name for our newest player. Click announced to the cameras. And speaking of choices, folks, don't forget to cast your votes on what our mysterious visitor should do next. Floating displays showed a real-time poll. 1. Explore the Grand Plaza, 43%. 2. Visit the Repair District, 12%. 3. Check out the local entertainment scene, 45%. Nicholas groaned internally. He needed to fix his ship and figure out what to do with the stolen artifact before the syndicate tracked him here. But as he looked around at the eager faces and hovering cameras, he realized he might need to play along with this bizarre world's rules, at least for now. The Grand Plaza it is, he announced, earning cheers from the crowd. The approval ratings ticked up another notch. Splendid choice. Bait boomed. And perfect timing, you won't want to miss today's main event at the Pillar of Reversal. As Nicholas let himself be guided by the enthusiastic crowd, Iris's voice came through his earpiece. I'm analyzing the local information networks. This place is unusual. Everything runs on social metrics, currency, social status, even basic rights, all determined by entertainment value and audience approval. Great, Nicholas muttered under his breath. So I'm stuck in a planet-sized reality show. Look on the bright side, Iris replied. At least the syndicate hunters can't follow us through that gravity anomaly. Though I suspect we may have jumped from the frying pan into what appears to be a rather elaborate fire. The crowd led him through streets that seemed designed specifically to be filmed. Every building sparkled with holographic displays showing various channels of entertainment. Citizens walked about wearing accessories that displayed their personal rating scores, and Nicholas noticed how those with higher numbers were treated with immediate deference. As they approached the Grand Plaza, he saw it, a towering obsidian structure that rose from the center of the square, the Pillar of Reversal. And chained to it. Nicholas stopped dead in his tracks. The woman bound to the pillar was unlike anything he'd ever seen. Her skin was a deep, rich purple that seemed to shimmer in the planet's artificial lighting. Silver hair cascaded down her back, and when she raised her head, her golden eyes seemed to pierce right through him. Her figure was athletic yet graceful, confined in what appeared to be some kind of ceremonial dress that managed to be both elegant and revealing. But it was the look in those golden eyes that caught him, pride, defiance, and something else. A dangerous intelligence that seemed to be calculating every possibility. "Ah, you've noticed our latest attraction," Click materialized beside him. The once great Rena Greenies, charged with treason against the show system itself. Treason? Nicholas couldn't take his eyes off her. What did she do? Attempted to expose alleged corruption in our perfect entertainment ecosystem. Bait appeared on his other side. Now she faces the ritual of reversal, bound until someone chooses to free her and bind themselves to her fate instead. The crowd around them had grown larger, people hurling metallic tokens at the pillar, the sharp clinks echoing through the plaza as they struck the cold surface. It should have felt brutal, a display of public scorn, but something about the scene felt off. The cruelty itself had the hollow sheen of performance, orchestrated more for spectacle than justice. "This is a farce," the woman, Rena, spoke for the first time. Her voice was rich and melodious with an accent Nicholas couldn't place. "Your precious shows are built on lies, and you all know it." The crowd's laughter grew louder, more forced. Nicholas watched as their personal rating displays ticked up with each throw, each performative gesture of mockery. "Iris," he whispered, "what happens if someone frees her?" Analyzing local laws. "Oh my. According to tradition, breaking her bonds would bind you to her through an unbreakable oath. You'd become her new master, but also responsible for her crimes. And it appears you'd both be required to participate in something called show battle, some kind of gladiatorial entertainment program." Nicholas looked at the proud woman chained to the pillar, then at the laughing crowd, then at his broken ship in the distance. He thought about the stolen artifact, the syndicate hunters who would eventually find a way here, and all the sensible reasons to walk away. Then Rena's golden eyes met his again, and he saw something in them, a challenge, a dare, a promise of either salvation or destruction. "Well," he said quietly, reaching for his plasma cutter, "I never was very good at sensible decisions." "Wait." Iris's voice hissed in his ear. "Nicholas, the local data streams indicate this could trigger a massive dash." But he was already moving, the plasma cutter humming to life in his hand as he strode toward the pillar. The crowd fell silent, their laughter dying as they realized what was about to happen. Even the ever-present camera drone seemed to pause in anticipation. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Rena asked quietly as he approached, her golden eyes studying him intently. "Once those chains break, there's no going back." Nicholas gave her his best roguish grin. "Would it help if I said I had a plan?" "Do you?" "Almost never. But I'm still alive, so that's working out so far." A slight smile tugged at the corner of her purple lips. "You're either very brave or very foolish. I find life's more interesting when you're both." He raised the plasma cutter. "Ready?" "Wait." Her voice dropped even lower. "You should know, they're not just chains. They're quantum locked. Breaking them will create a temporal bond that dash." Less explaining, more escaping, Nicholas activated the cutter. "I've got a feeling we're about to have bigger problems anyway." The plasma beam sliced through the first chain with a shower of sparks. The moment it broke, something strange happened, a pulse of energy rippled through the air, and Nicholas felt an odd sensation, like a thread being woven between his consciousness and Rena's. Click and Bait materialized nearby, their holographic forms practically vibrating with excitement. "Ladies and gentlemen," Click announced, "we're witnessing history, an unprecedented activation of the reversal ritual. The ratings are through the roof. Keep those reactions coming, viewers." Bait added. Nicholas cut through the second chain, then the third. With each break, the strange connection grew stronger. He could almost feel Rena's emotions now, a mix of relief, anxiety, and something else. A fierce determination that matched his own. As the final chain fell away, Rena stepped forward, rubbing her wrists. Then, to Nicholas's surprise, she dropped to one knee before him. "By the ancient laws of catharsis," she declared, her voice carrying across the now silent plaza, "I, Rena Greenies, bind myself to you. My fate is yours, my strength is yours, until death breaks our bond or you choose to release me." "Please tell me this isn't a marriage proposal," Nicholas muttered. "I usually like to get dinner first." A flash of amusement crossed her face, but she maintained her formal pose. "Rise or fall, glory or shame, your path is now mine. Master." "Yeah, we're definitely going to have to workshop that title." Suddenly, alarms began blaring throughout the plaza. The crowd's shocked silence erupted into excited chatter as massive screens materialized in the air around them. "Alert! Alert!" The screens flashed red. "Emergency protocol activated. Unauthorized reversal ritual detected. Initiating show battle protocols." "Iris," Nicholas called out, "any insights would be helpful right about now." "Processing. Oh dear. It appears you've just volunteered yourself for their premier gladiatorial entertainment program. And the current champions are not pleased." As if on cue, two figures materialized on the main stage of the plaza. A man and woman in elaborate combat gear. The man, Chiron, was tall and imposing, with cybernetic enhancements gleaming along his arms. His partner, Daryl, moved with the fluid grace of a predator, her augmented eyes scanning the crowd. "So," Chiron's amplified voice boomed across the plaza, "someone thinks they can just walk in and challenge the natural order of our show." Daryl's laugh was like ice. "How romantic. Another fool thinking he can save the traitor." She blew a kiss to the cameras. "Should we show them what happens to challengers, darling? Oh, this is going to be spectacular." Click appeared between the two pairs. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have our next show battle lineup. The undefeated champions versus our mysterious crash lander and the freed prisoner. Place your bets now." Nicholas leaned closer to Rena. "I don't suppose there's a way to politely decline." "No," she stood, moving to his side. "But I should warn you, I'm not very good at being a submissive servant. Thank God for that. I'm terrible at giving orders." He watched as more security forces began to surround the plaza. "Any chance you have an escape plan?" "Already working on one." Her golden eyes scanned the crowd. "But first, do you trust me? I just met you." "That's not a no." Nicholas sighed. "Well, I did just bind our fates together with magic chains, so, sure, why not?" Without warning, Rena grabbed his collar and pulled him into a kiss. Her lips were surprisingly warm, and for a moment Nicholas forgot about everything else, the crowd, the danger, even the stolen artifact on his ship. Then she pulled back, leaving him slightly dazed. What was that for? She smiled, and for the first time it reached her eyes. Ratings. In this world, everything is about the show. She glanced at the floating displays showing their approval numbers skyrocketing. And now. She raised her hand, and suddenly the plaza's holographic systems went haywire. Screens flickered, drones spun in confusion, and even Click and Bait's forms began to glitch. "You hacked the system with a kiss?" Nicholas couldn't help but be impressed. "No, I hacked it days ago. I just needed enough audience approval to activate the override. She grabbed his hand. Now run. They sprinted through the chaos as security forces tried to restore order. Behind them, Nicholas could hear Chiron and Daryl shouting orders, but the malfunctioning systems were causing too much confusion for an organized pursuit. The ship? Rena asked as they ran. Damaged in the crash. We won't get far. We don't need to. She pulled him down a side street. I have a better idea, but you're probably not going to like it. Story of my life. Nicholas glanced back at the pursuing forces. I'm open to suggestions. Rena led them to what looked like a maintenance entrance. She placed her hand on the scanner and the door slid open. Welcome to the backstage of Catharsis, where all the real shows are run. As the door closed behind them, Nicholas could still hear Click and Bates' voices echoing through the city. Ladies and gentlemen, this season of Show Battle is already breaking all previous records. Don't touch that dial, the real entertainment is just beginning. The underground tunnels beneath Catharsis's glittering surface told a different story. Nicholas followed Rena through dim corridors where the walls weren't polished chrome but exposed concrete, marked with desperate graffiti, "No more shows," and "ratings equals death." Welcome to the real Catharsis, Rena said, gesturing to a huddled group of people they passed, their rating displays showing single digits or zeros. They shrank away from Nicholas and Rena, eyes downcast. When your ratings drop too low, you become invisible. And on Catharsis, invisibility is a death sentence. A child with hollow cheeks clutched a malfunctioning holoscreen, trying to catch glimpses of the shows above. Her mother quickly pulled her away when she noticed Nicholas watching. How did it get like this? Nicholas asked, thinking of the sparkling facades above. Slowly. Insidiously. Rena's golden eyes darkened. First it was just entertainment. Then it became currency. Finally, it became everything. She stopped at a heavy door, placing her palm on the scanner. The council calls it engagement-based evolution. I call it systematic oppression through distraction. The door opened to reveal what appeared to be a command center, filled with old but functional equipment. Screens showed various feeds from around the city, including their own dramatic escape from earlier. Your safe house? Nicholas asked. More like Resistance headquarters. Rena activated a central console, though resistance might be too generous a term for what's left of us. Speaking of what's left. Nicholas leaned against a desk. You still haven't told me who you really are. Besides being the most wanted woman on a planet of perpetual reality TV. Rena was quiet for a moment, her purple skin catching the blue light of the screens. I was born into the council elite. My father helped design the original rating systems. She laughed bitterly. The great irony is that he thought he was creating a perfect democracy where everyone's voice would count. What went wrong? Everything. She pulled up archived footage on the main screen. Watch. The footage showed a younger Rena in formal council attire, addressing what appeared to be a government assembly. The rating system is being manipulated, her recorded voice declared. The council isn't just controlling the shows, they're using them to control thought itself. Every like, every view, every trending topic is engineered to dash. The footage cut off as guards rushed the podium. That was 6 months ago, Rena said quietly. Before they branded me a traitor. Before they. She trailed off, her hand unconsciously touching her neck where the chains had been. Your own father voted for your punishment. He had to maintain his rating. Her smile was sharp as broken glass. Family means nothing here. Only the show matters. A distant explosion rocked the bunker, causing the screens to flicker. Above them, they could hear the muffled sound of crowd cheers. Another elimination round, Rena explained grimly. When ratings drop too low, contestants are forced into death matches. The winners get a rating boost. The losers. She gestured to a screen showing medics carrying away a covered body while the crowd cheered. Nicholas felt the stolen artifact in his jacket grow heavier. I've seen my share of corrupt systems, but this. Your turn, Rena turned to him, her golden eyes piercing. What's your story, Nicholas Choice? What kind of man crashes onto a strange planet and immediately frees a condemned prisoner? The charming kind? She stepped closer, and Nicholas became acutely aware of her presence, the subtle floral scent that seemed exotic yet familiar, the way her silver hair caught the light. Try again, she said softly. Nicholas sighed. Former Earth Force test pilot. Got tired of following orders that didn't make sense, started following my own moral compass instead. Turns out that's bad for military career advancement. And now you're a smuggler. Freelance procurement specialist, he corrected with a grin. Though right now I might be in a bit of trouble with the Orion Syndicate. The artifact you're carrying? Rena nodded toward his jacket. I can feel its energy signature. Some kind of quantum tech. Nicholas pulled out the small container. Inside, a crystalline device pulsed with an otherworldly light. Supposedly it can manipulate reality on a fundamental level. The Syndicate wanted it. I decided they shouldn't have it. A thief with principles, she mused. Says the aristocrat leading an underground resistance. Their eyes met, and something electric passed between them. The quantum bond they shared seemed to hum with unspoken understanding. Rena moved even closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. You know what happens next. They'll force us into the show battle. Chiron and Daryl won't just try to defeat us, they'll try to break us, make an example of us. Then we'll have to be more entertaining than them. Nicholas reached out, brushing a strand of silver hair from her face. The simple touch sent a surge through their bond. It's not that simple. Rena's breath caught as his fingers lingered on her cheek. The games are rigged, the audience is manipulated. We'd need dash. She was cut off by another explosion, this one closer. Warning lights flashed throughout the bunker. Attention citizens. Click's voice boomed through the city's announcement system. Our fugitive contestants have been located. Prepare for an unprecedented special edition of Show Battle. Time's up, Nicholas said, but neither of them moved away. Nicholas. Rena's eyes searched his. Why did you really free me? Instead of answering, he kissed her. Unlike their first kiss in the plaza, this one wasn't for show. It was real, desperate, electric. Her lips were soft but demanding, and when she pressed against him, their bond exploded with shared sensation. He could feel her desire, her fear, her determination, all mingling with his own emotions until he couldn't tell where he ended and she began. They broke apart, breathing heavily, as the bunker shook with another impact. Well, Rena said, her voice husky, that should help our ratings. Wasn't thinking about ratings. Liar. But she was smiling. You're learning how catharsis works. Everything is part of the show. Even this. She kissed him again, quickly, before stepping back. But what we feel, that's ours. The main door burst open. Security forces poured in, led by Chiron and Daryl. Camera drones swarmed behind them. How touching, Daryl's voice dripped with false sweetness. The traitor and the outsider, finding love in our humble show. Save the romance for the arena, Chiron growled. It's time for your debut performance. As they were surrounded, Nicholas felt Rena's hand slip into his. Through their bond, he sensed not fear, but a fierce joy. Whatever came next, they would face it together. Ready to give them a show, he whispered. Her answering smile was both beautiful and terrible. Let's bring down the house.